going on? This is your boy Town Biz. All right, so I'm editing some videos, putting them together, so y'all make sure y'all check them out. Well, I can say this much. Great trip to Dallas. I appreciate the people that showed me love. I saw some people that support my channel, that watch my channel. And as much as I don't like doing it, I took a couple of pictures. Shout out to the Queens of Boxing. They tapped in. So, don't be surprised if your boy make an appearance on the show and stuff. So, and I'm going to get them on my show as well. So, they was there doing their thing. So shout out to them. I'll say this much about Virgil Ortiz. When you have a conversation with Virgil Ortiz, he's a real likable guy. Him and his father, they real likable guys. I don't think that they like disingenuous. I think they, for the most part, I think they come from a good place and stuff. Whoever you believe about the boots thing, that's your choice. But at the end of the day, they had a face off. So now it's time for this fight to happen. It's time for this fight to happen. And I didn't get a chance to come to the podium and ask my question because, they shut it down. But I feel it's important that we get these fights made. We just can't afford to keep doing this to the fans. We can't keep afford to doing it to boxing because, a lot of people say they believe boxing is a dying sport, which it could be saved. I mean, the Turkey Al-Sheikh thing is cool, but for how long do you think you want to see our best boxers continue to fight overseas? Fight in Saudi. They putting together some good cards, but some of those cards, they should be in the States. And that's just how I feel. I understand. I you got to see the interviews that I did. The interviews will be up. I'm loading them right now. So I interviewed Virgil Ortiz. I interviewed his father. So, I didn't get a chance to talk to Oscar. I got a chance to talk to Robert Garcia. So, I asked him some interesting questions. I asked him a question that caught him off guard, but he wanted to answer. One thing about me, sometimes I'll go a different direction. So, but yeah, Tania, that's the $1 million question. Is this fight actually going to happen? Will we actually get these two guys in the ring? And I don't want to hear this stuff about let the fight marinate. This fight been in the making for the past 2 years. It's time to make this fight happen. Virgil Ortiz says he's in the best shape of his life. He said he feels better. He feels rejuvenated. Because a year and a half ago, it looked like Virgil Ortiz was on the brink of. But as far as the fight go, I mean, it went how I expected it to go. I already knew that he would stop Lubin. I'm still advised by Al Heyman. So we just gotta see. But Virgil Ortiz did what he needed to do. If I had to pick a winner, I'll put it to you this way. Virgil Ortiz power could be the difference maker, but I think that Boots could outbox him. Boots got power too. It's one of them fights Boots probably should win, but you never know. If Virgil lands something meaningful, then you never know. This gonna be, Virgil got dynamite in both his hands. He can punch. That's one thing he can do. That's one thing he can do. Nah, Lubin gonna continue to fight, but because he got somewhat of a name. So is he headed to gatekeeper status? That may be. But if you look at the thing is with Lubin, Danny's gonna turn around. He's gonna, win. They're gonna put him in the ring with some people that they feel that he could beat, and then he'll be right back at it. Now, a fight that I would like to see Virgil Ortiz if he can't get Boots. I'd like to see him versus somebody like Charlo. That'll be an interesting fight. Charlo was there, of course, acting brand new You know, I don't. Errol Spence, he was there. I couldn't catch Errol Spence. I didn't know what part of the arena he was at because Fight Hype, they just seemed to be able to just get everybody. So I wasn't able to catch Errol Spence because I was just going to ask him, is there a timetable for his return? And Errol Spence can't get frustrated when people ask him that question because people want to know yay or nay. Are you going to fight or are you going to retire? Yeah, they always acted funny. Charlo always acted funny, and then he wonders why he doesn't have a fan base or nobody in the media really likes him. He gonna come back and say he don't get no love, he don't get no support, and I promise you, it's just a matter of time before he blames the black community and says that black people don't show him no love. Well, you know what? Black people try to talk to you. You know, they try to talk to you. You be acting all funny style and stuff. So it's just like people ain't finna be just begging you to talk. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm just saying, but I also want to talk about Amari Jones. Amari Jones looked really good. You know, as far as a fighter goes, I like what Virgil Hunter, not Virgil Ortiz, is doing with Amari. I saw some glimpses. Now, just bear with me. I'm not saying he's there yet, but I saw some glimpses of Andre Ward and Amari. I think Amari can fight. I mean, he got a nice little short hook. I think Amari can fight. I think Golden Boy, they need to bring him along. They don't have to rush him because he got plenty of time. And Amari is a big boy too. Amari probably, when it's all said and done, he probably gonna finish his career probably at 168 or probably light heavyweight because Amari is big. Amari is like maybe 6'1", 6'2". He's tall, and he can fight. And that's what I like about him. But bring him along at a pace that suits everybody. And shout out to Virgil Hunter. Shout out to Coach Cordell. Shout out to everybody. I'll probably be going to the gym in a couple of days to get a live reaction. I like what I saw. I think I saw the defense. I think the defense is good because he was slipping and blocking punches. And now I do think Tania, he need to work more on his counter instead of jumping in and then jumping back out. I think he needs to work on his counter punching, but that's fixable. That's fixable. He only 17 fights in. That's fixable. That ain't nothing that's going stagnate his career, stagnate him as a boxer. He's a work in progress, but I like what I've seen so far. But he do need to work on countering a little bit more, But he do know how to place his punches really good. But like I said, we'll see. Oscar says he has big plans for Amari. He said that he gonna definitely put some fights in Oakland, and please do that because that would definitely help me out. That would help all of us out because I don't like doing all this traveling stuff. You have to understand, Tania, this is real talk, sis. People be talking all that shit, ignore people, and don't let what the media say or don't let what people say bother you. Listen, listen. I'm a human being. I didn't heard stuff where people that said stuff about me that bothered me and stuff. Like all this stuff, you only can ignore somebody for all so long because we're human before you react. And I think he is feeling the pressure. You got to remember, he's feeling the backlash for him working with Canelo. He's rebounding off the backlash now. You already know, Tania, how I felt about it. I didn't, go as far as to call him a sellout and a coon and all that kind of stuff, but I did say that I didn't like it. I didn't care for it. So Boots might be in that mode like, yeah, I gotta prove myself. I gotta bounce back from this because this just wasn't a good look. Yeah, I do think that what's going on with the media. I mean, Tania, we got to be real. I mean, people be saying they don't care what the media says and they don't listen. That's been proven time and time again. That's complete cap. We all know that that's. We all know that that's not true. So we all know that. So I just think that maybe that's why he's being a little aggressive. Listen, I'm pretty sure he heard what people said about him and it bothered him. But maybe this motivates him to get in the ring with Ortiz and beat his ass. And I'm gonna say this about Ortiz. Ortiz is cool. Him and his father is cool. Him and his father is cool. But as I said, when you see the interview that I told his father, I said it's important that these type of fights get made because boxing is already in deep trouble. It's already taking a dumpster dive because we didn't have far too long where we procrastinate fights and stuff, and it doesn't have to. Everything don't need to marinate. Sometimes you need to strike when the iron is hot, and the iron is hot right now. Make this fight. Don't let this lagger on for the next 3 years. Make the damn fight. The fight need to happen in 2026. You know, you don't want this going into 2027 and they still ain't got no fight. Make the damn fight. You know, Boots came there. Eddie Hearn came there. Let's negotiate. Now, they talked about they the A side and all this stuff. I don't want to go through this stuff about A side stuff. Oscar has already said that the fight is going to be in all likelihood Las Vegas. It'll be probably at the MGM Grand or what's that other one, the Mandalay Bay. Who knows? They might could get it at T-Mobile. Yeah, we can't afford to have any more starving out the fans. And I'm gonna be. I know that Virgil Ortiz said his dream would be to fight Errol Spence at Cowboy Stadium. Oscar said he's friends with Jerry Jones. Well, here's the thing: my thing is why we keep talking about Spence and we ain't even seen Spence. Is Spence gonna be even like? Are we even gonna see him again? I think that's people's main problem. They're wondering, is they even going to see this dude again? I mean, it's going on. Listen, we headed towards the middle of November. End of the week, it'll be the middle of November. I mean, are we going to get an answer? I mean, what's the deal? And you're right. Starving the fans out to Nia is not a good deal, sis. Really isn't. And by the way, but I just got to take a parting shot at Layla Ali because Layla Ali is full of shit. I know she won't say it publicly, but I know she felt some kind of way when she heard about that deal Carissa Shields got. Because at the end of the day, Carissa Shields is still in game for Carissa Shields because she got a 2-year extension for 4 fights, which is gonna pay her $2 million per fight, and she said she could even make more. So, with that being said, her $3 million signing bonus is more than Layla Ali ever made as a fighter. And she can sit up there in front of all she wants. At the end of the day, like I said before, Layla Ali is full of shit. She never wanted to fight. She just stalled everybody out, and that's all she did, and then tried to play victim. She was the one. You'll be mad too if somebody say, sometimes you got to be politically correct. Yeah. Yeah. So, I ordered some food. But anyway, with that being said, like, I mess with Carissa Shields. The only problem I had with her is saying all this, she gonna fight dudes and all that stuff. Like, stop it. That's just, don't do that. Worry about building up women's boxing. And you did. You made history. You gonna be the first fighter that's gonna be guaranteed over $1 million per fight. So while people sitting up here sucking up the Layla Ali, Carissa Shields really won. So Ashley, she paved the way for women's boxing. But anyway, it's your boy Tam. I'm out.